If you've been watching all the videos up until now, you should get an idea of what the graph of y equals x squared will look like. So it will look like a U, like something like this. What would happen in this video? We're going to investigate what would happen if you have something like y equals x squared plus 3, or y equals, what happens if you put a number in front of this x squared. This number here is called the coefficient of x squared. So what happens if you have something like 3x? So here, this here would look like it would look like this graph on its own. So this is a graph of y equals x squared. What would happen if you stick a 3 in front of the x squared? Okay, so as always, when you're trying to investigate graphs, create a table. Okay, so when x equals 0, x squared. Sometimes I would put a y in here. Hang on. So sometimes I would put a y in here. Well, it's okay to do that because you could have y, because we are investigating y equals x squared. Sometimes I can put the y into this thing here, or I can put this into here. It's the same thing. Okay. So now we are trying to investigate y equals x squared. So put the 0 into this this x here. So x squared would look it would look like this. When x equals 0, x squared is 0. When x is 1, x squared would be 1. This would be 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay. Here it would be pretty much the same. 4, 9, 16. 25, and then here. Okay. So when you would then plot this, and it would look something like this. Hang on. It would look something like this. Okay. So when x equals 1, x squared would be 1. When x equals 2, this would be 4, and 3, this would be 9. I've shown all this before in the previous videos. So this graph here represents y equals x squared. Now, what would happen when we want to we want to know what x squared plus, let's say, 1. What would this graph look like? Okay, so investigate. So now create an extra line here. X squared plus 1. Okay, now we are investigating this x squared plus 1. Now you've got to put the 0 into this x here. So you know, normally it's x squared normally is 0. Well, here you would just add an extra 1 onto the end of it. So it was 0 here. This x squared here was 0, which is here. Okay, and then you would just add 1 onto it. So it would be 1 here, and then normally it's normally x squared is 1 here. Well, you've got to add an extra 1 here because we are investigating x squared, which was like the previous one, but now we are adding 1 on top of it. What would happen? So here it was x squared was 1, and then we're going to add 1 on top of that. So that would be 2. Now it was 3. Sorry, it was 4, and now we're going to add 1 on top of that. So now it's 5. It was 9, and now we're going to add 1. So now x squared plus 1 will be 10. Okay, it was 16, but now we're going to add another 1 on top of that. Okay, and so on. So here it was 1, and now we're going to add 1 on top of that. So it's 2. Now, well, it was 4. Now we're going to add 1 on top of that. So it's 5. It was 9. Now we're going to add 1 on top of that. So it's 10. So here, so if you try and plot this line here, it would be this. Well, it would be 1 when x is 0. You got to move it up 1. So it would be here. Okay, and well, it was 1, but then we're gonna move it up to 2. So here it was 4. Now we've got to move it up 1. It was 3. Now we've got to move it up 1 because so this graph here represents x squared, but we are trying to investigate y equals x squared plus 1. So the new graph would, well, it's pretty much the same, but we are moving everything up up 1. So this thing here would move up 1 here. So basically it would look like this. This is your y equals x squared graph. This line here. Okay. Now if you want to know what happens when it's x squared plus 1, it would be this. Hang on. Everything moves up 1, so it would be like this. Hang on. It would be like this. Yeah. So this is your new graph here. So if you want to hang on. If you have a graph of y, if you have a graph of y equals x squared, this is a graph of y equals x squared. Now if you add, let's say if you want to know the graph of y equals x squared plus, let's say 5, then, well, it was 0, and then you've got to move it up 5. Okay, so the new one would be here. So you're going to move this up here, and then, well, it was 1, you're going to move it up to here. So, well, it was here, you're going to move it up, move it up to 9. So it would be here. So basically, if you want to know y equals x squared plus 5, well, think inside your mind of a graph of y equals x squared, and then all you have to do is just move it up. Hang on, I'm going to move it up. Move it up to move it up 5 places up. So your new graph will look like this. Okay. And also if you want to know, let's say y equals, let's say x squared minus let's say, I don't know, 7, no, minus 4, say. So if you want to know y equals x squared minus 4, we'll start with, hang on, let me just put this back to normal. Start with y equals x squared, hang on. So this is a graph of y equals x squared. It goes through the origin. Now, if you want to investigate what happens, if you want to know what x squared minus 4 will look like, well, hang on. Well, it was 0 here, and then you've got to move it down 4. So the new place would be here. If you well, it was 1, but then you've got to move it down 4. So it would be 3. So well, anyway, it would look like this. If you move it down 4, it would look like this. Hang on. It would look like so this here would be a graph of y equals x squared minus 4. So you basically just, it was here and then you move it down here. So this is your new graph here. Okay. In the next video, I will show you what would happen if you stick a number in front of the x squared. Okay.